Greetings and welcome back to yet another episode of the Daily Run, and today we're playing as Maggie. Maggie is one of those characters that has been always universally not as loved, just because she does start out with very low speed, and as you actually get acclimated to the game and when you get more experienced, you realize that having more health isn't worth the trade-off of having less speed, which means you can't really dodge as properly, and more importantly, it's just very sluggish and annoying to play as. But thankfully what happened in Afterbirth Plus, there are some minor changes to characters, and Maggie actually got a pill to start out with, and I think that's a very welcome change, just because I think it makes the characters just a bit more fresh if there are actually additions, and I really like the fact that even after all these years, we're still getting minor tweaks and adjustments to characters just to make them a bit more interesting. You know, giving her a pill early on isn't gonna make or break the character. Sometimes they're gonna start out with a good start, and sometimes you're gonna start out with a bad pill, and that's gonna have an effect on your run, or just an effect until maybe you get your grooves going. But until that point, you know, when you use the pill, there's really anything that can happen, and I think pills are actually a very skillful random mechanic. So obviously every time you use a pill, it's a random effect, but if you know which effects are in the pill, you can actually maximize or minimize your chances of bad things happening. And what I think is great about giving a pill to Maggie, if you're a new character, or I mean a new player, and you're playing as Maggie for the first ever time, and you see the pill and you use it, there's actually not that many consequences or pills which will turn out very bad for you. What's very bad for you to get is maybe a speed down and a tears down, but some other effects which would be bad for other characters, something like a health down pill doesn't really affect Maggie because you already have 4 health. So if you get a health down pill, you would only have 3 health remaining, and you know that's not that bad. Or if you have a bad trip pill, if you use that and get hit, then you can just heal that back up. Compare that, of course, by being Judas, or maybe by being someone like Cain. If you get a bad trip pill, it can really put you on a bad start. And of course, the same goes for any other character. Basically, there are a few bad pills in the rotation, but giving Maggie a pill, I think, is a good change, because when you're new as a player, maybe you're afraid to experiment with pills, because one time you used it and you got a health down, but the fact you have so much health and you can actually afford to make some mistakes with Maggie is what I think makes this controlled randomness really great. And I think as you get better at the game, you can actually learn what the pill effects do, and then you can kind of maximize the efficiency of using them. So maybe you use them next to a tinted rock to actually get the bomb effect, which spawns a bunch of bombs. Explosive diarrhea, that's the word I'm looking for. And maybe, you know, you can use them in that direction, or maybe just do something else with them. But like I said, I think that pills are one of those mechanics that requires skillful randomness, knowing what the effect does and how to actually maximize all of the effects in the pool to do something good for you. Sometimes you can escape badness, you know, but that's just part of Isaac. Sometimes bad things are gonna happen and there's nothing you can do about it. Besides starting as Maggie, which is one of the most standard characters in the game, this run was actually pretty standard, so everything was kind of falling in line there. There weren't any new items from what I could tell. There was one new item I picked up, which was Glass Shard, but I couldn't tell what it does. I'm really bad at recognizing the effects of items because nothing apparently changes my stats, and I really can't notice what I do even if they do something. In this situation, I thought maybe that I would get a bleeding effect, maybe I would shoot a shard of glass, you know, that would be pretty cool, and maybe we could cut the enemies, and then with their cut, maybe we'd do more damage to them or something like that. But nothing like that happened, or at least I couldn't tell that something like that happened. Maybe what happened is that the sprite got replaced via that's touch tiers, the sights, and maybe that's why I couldn't see the sprite and the effect. But then again, you know, all of these items are new, and even when you pick them up, you can't really be sure what they do. So it's always fun to actually figure these things out on your own, and after some time, obviously, just this information leaks out if you watch other YouTubers, or maybe if you just follow the wiki or the subreddit. Then you just become acclimated to what certain things do and how you can actually use them effectively. But besides that one new item, like I said, this was a very standard run. This was the run to Mom's Heart, and if you've never played the daily before, because obviously now I have a bit more viewers than I used to, so I feel like I have to explain some things again. If you never played the daily before, basically what happens is you get an objective up until which point you go, so it's not that you're always going to the chest or to the dark room. For example, this daily goes only to Mom's Heart, but the tricky thing is, if you want a really high score, what you can actually do is find a shovel or an AWAS rune to actually allow you to go a floor further, which means you can visit Stroll. And that's a very broken mechanic by some people think that it's a broken mechanic, but in my opinion, it actually does require some skillful tech to actually pull it off. So what happens is, if you find an AWAS rune or a shovel, we can actually visit one additional floor, and obviously just beating the rooms gives us points for completing the rooms. If we get get to another floor, we just get instant 3000 points bonus just because we visited that floor. And another great thing is because you just clear rooms, there's a more chance of you to actually get consumables, cards, things like that, and by getting those, obviously your points increase as well. So the discrepancy between people who do find a way to go deeper than the initial objective as opposed to people who don't is very high. So if you really want to get a high score, you need to be on the lookout and actually kind of expect that if there is a mom daily or a daily that goes to mom's heart, that some people will find a way forward, and if you didn't, there's really no way that you can compete. And some people are obviously very irritated by that because the game is random, and if the game is random, obviously why would someone get a lucky shovel, for example, like I did in this example, and just get and find a way forward very easily, as opposed to someone who actually tried to maybe break the game or just played really well and maybe didn't get hit at all, but they just didn't find a way forward, and now they're actually ranked lower than the person who did. And I understand that complaint, and I really sympathize with it, because, you know, I think that skillful play is in contact, but then again, I think that Isaac is a game about randomness, and you can't really balance that everyone just gets the same items, and I think if you did that, it would be very boring. So the fact that we have this inherent randomness, which even determines how well a particular run goes, and the fact that two people can play the same run and it can turn out so differently, is what really we like about this game. And I think, you know, that if you play well and you kind of keep those things in mind, that on the long run, not in just one particular instance, but if you have just a bunch of games, a bunch of sample, the variance is gonna go down, and then eventually the good players will float to the top. And you know, that's true for any random skill game, but I think it's important to remember that I maybe have this outlook on the game, and I really enjoy dailies as they are, and the fact I'm actually trying to upload them daily, I think shows that. But besides that, like I said, it was a very standard run. We're trying to find a way forward. We got a Agape transformation, which is just great because obviously it allows us to stomp everything. And we did find the shovel and devil deal. I actually kept the die shard, and the die shard allows you to reroll consumables and the items in the room. I kept it in hopes that maybe I would reroll a devil deal, and then maybe that way I can get a shovel. So basically I'm just trying to maximize my chances in that case. But thankfully the shovel was just there, so we just used it once. If you don't know, you can't use the shovel again in stroll to actually get to the dark room, because that just doesn't work. The only way to actually get to the dark room is via either the error room, I think, or by actually beating the boss and then going to the chest. But here, obviously, when we finish the run, because the goal was already Mom's Heart, now we just get a trophy at the end, which we have to pick up to finish the run. And anytime at the end, you just want to explore as much as possible, because every room you visit also gives additional points. And with that said, you know, that's actually it for this run. It was a very standard run. We were just trying to get forward. Thankfully, we did find a way to go deeper, and we just amassed quite a bunch of points. And the fact we had a bomb bag also allowed us to pick up a lot of consumables. And in total, you know, this run was actually pretty decent, at least for the past 3. And 29th is the rank I'm usually used to, and if you actually just complete the run and find the way forward, you can expect a rank in the top 50s. But if you're looking for a fair challenge, maybe the most fair challenges that exist are the ones that go to the Dark Room or to Mega Satan, and maybe even there's a challenge that goes to the new area, which I haven't visited yet, and I'm really excited to see that. And I don't really know where the new area is, but we'll see when that happens. But for time being, we did finish 29th, which is obviously top 50 score, and I'm playing this about 8 hours or 9 hours after the daily has come out, so this actually is a very decent score, and I'm really glad that after 3 kinda bad dailies and the fact that I died, we got a pretty standard one with not really a lot of new things, and I can actually show that I'm not just a scrub at the game, I guess. So yeah, with that said, guys, I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you next time.